the King's Gambit. It is one of the oldest and most aggressive openings in chess, and for centuries it was the weapon of choice for players who wanted to attack from the very first move. White sacrifices a pawn on the second move by playing f4, offering it to black in exchange for rapid development and control of the center. The idea is straightforward. Give up material early to open lines and launch a fast kingside attack before black has time to consolidate. The resulting positions are sharp and double-edged, with both sides playing for the initiative from the very beginning. It fell out of fashion at the top level as defensive techniques improved, but it remains one of the most exciting and instructive openings in all of chess. The Queen's Gambit. Despite its name, it is not a true gambit in the strictest sense, and that distinction is actually what makes it so fascinating. White plays d4 and c4, offering a queenside pawn, but if black takes it, white can almost always win it back immediately. The real question is whether black should accept or decline. Accepting with the Queen's Gambit accepted leads to open dynamic positions where black gives up the center in exchange for active piece play. Declining with e6 leads to the rich, strategic Queen's Gambit declined, the most played response at the elite level for much of the 20th century. The gambit is less about winning a pawn and more about forcing black to make a fundamental decision about how to handle the center from the very first moves. The Englund Gambit. It begins as an Italian game before white sacrifices a pawn on b4 on the fourth move, offering it to deflect black's bishop and gain rapid development. The Englund Gambit was enormously popular in the 19th century and was a favorite of the American master Paul Morphy, who used it to devastating effect against the best players of his era. It fell into relative obscurity for much of the 20th century as defensive theory improved, but Garry Kasparov famously revived it against Vishy Anand in 1995, stunning the chess world and sparking renewed interest in the gambit at the highest level, the Benko Gambit. Black sacrifices a pawn early in the opening to gain long-term queenside pressure and active piece play. After white plays d4 and c4 and black plays knight f6 and c5, black offers a pawn on b5, and if white accepts, black gains open files on the queenside that can be exploited for the rest of the game. The Benko is unusual among gambits because black is not looking for an immediate attack. Instead, the compensation is positional, offering lasting pressure that can persist deep into the endgame. It became a popular weapon at the grandmaster level precisely because the resulting positions are easy for black to play and difficult for white to convert despite the extra material. The Smith-Morra Gambit. It arises against the Sicilian defense when white plays d4 after e4c5, sacrificing a pawn to avoid the deeply theoretical main lines of the Sicilian and instead reach open, active positions where white's pieces can develop rapidly. The gambit is named after Pierre Morat and Ken Smith, who popularized it extensively in the mid-20th century. At the club level, it is a particularly dangerous weapon because black players who have prepared the main Sicilian lines are suddenly faced with an entirely different set of problems. At the grandmaster level, it is considered insufficient for a lasting advantage, but it remains a respected and tricky practical choice. The Budapest Gambit. Black offers a pawn sacrifice as early as the second move in response to white's d4 and c4, playing e5 to immediately challenge white's center. If white accepts by taking on e5, black follows with knight g4 to attack the pawn and generate active piece play from the very start. The Budapest is considered somewhat unsound at the highest levels, but is a reliable and entertaining weapon at club level, offering black immediate counterplay and positions that are easy to understand and enjoyable to play. It has the element of surprise on its side. Many white players are unprepared for such an early challenge to the center. The Latvian Gambit. It is one of the most aggressive and controversial responses to white's e4, e5, knight f3, with black immediately countering with f5 on the second move, offering a pawn to seize the initiative before white has even developed a second piece. The Latvian is considered objectively dubious by most theorists, and with precise play, white can obtain a significant advantage. However, in practical play at the club level, it creates immediate complications that many white players are unprepared for, leading to positions where black's aggressive intentions can pay off handsomely. It is the kind of gambit that wins more games than theory says it should. The Scotch Gambit. After the opening moves e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, white declines to trade pawns in the normal Scotch fashion, and instead offers a second pawn with bishop c4, entering sharp gambit territory. The Scotch Gambit leads to some of the most tactical and open positions in all of chess, with both sides castling in opposite directions and launching attacks against each other's kings. It was a popular weapon in the Romantic era of chess and shares DNA with several other sharp 19th century gambits. Modern theory considers it playable but not necessarily objectively best, though it remains a dangerous and entertaining choice at all levels. The Latvian Gambit. White sacrifices a knight as early as the fourth move, offering it on e5 in exchange for a massive pawn center and dynamic piece activity. It is one of the most shocking gambits in chess. Giving up a full knight so early seems almost reckless, and most opponents are completely unprepared for it. The compensation white receives is not material, but positional. A pawn center that is extremely difficult to break down and piece activity that can become overwhelming if black does not respond precisely. It is considered dubious at the grandmaster level, but at the club level it scores extremely well precisely because the resulting positions are so unfamiliar. The Blackmar-Diemer Gambit. White sacrifices a pawn early in d4 openings to gain rapid development and attacking chances against black's kingside. After d4, d5, e4, white offers the e4 pawn, and after black takes follows with f3 to immediately challenge the pawn and open lines. It is an ambitious and aggressive approach that seeks to create the kind of open, tactical positions where white's lead in development can be converted into a direct attack. The Blackmar-Diemer is considered unsound at the top level, but has a dedicated following at club level where its practical dangers are very real and the resulting positions are notoriously difficult to defend without precise knowledge. The Danish Gambit. White sacrifices not one but two pawns in the opening, offering them in exchange for two bishops on open diagonals pointed directly at black's kingside. After e4, e5, d4, black takes on d4, then c3, black takes again, then bishop c4, and if black continues taking on b2, white recaptures with the bishop, and has both bishops aimed at f7 and the kingside with a terrifying developmental lead. The resulting positions are among the most dangerous in all of chess for an unprepared opponent. The attack practically plays itself. The Danish Gambit was enormously popular in the 19th century and produced some spectacular attacking games. At the top level, it is considered insufficient because black can decline the second pawn and reach a comfortable position, but at the club level, it remains one of the most feared and effective gambits a player can employ. The Englund Gambit. Black responds to white's d4 with e5 on the very first move, immediately offering a pawn to seize the initiative and steer the game away from normal queen's pawn territory. The Englund is considered unsound at the highest levels. White can obtain a comfortable advantage with precise play. But it is a surprising and aggressive choice that creates immediate complications. Like several other offbeat gambits, it functions best as a surprise weapon, catching opponents who are prepared for the standard Sicilian or French defenses completely off guard and forcing them to think for themselves from the very first moves of the game.